Jaleco isn't really known for their shoot-'em-ups. They made a few, particularly in their early arcade days, but I don't think anybody's ever gone, oh boy, a Jaleco shooter. Big Challenge Dogfight Spirit is their attempt to dip their toe into the military-themed shoot-'em-ups that become very popular in the late 80s. And I think they did every single thing wrong possible. Things are so off that I genuinely thought I had a problem with my disc. Some weird modified pirate version that broke everything. But no, this is how the game is supposed to work. The plot of the game is that there's an evil organization that has built up military forces across the entire world. The organization recruits people by kidnapping and brainwashing, and one of their victims was being trained to be a pilot, but he shook off the brainwashing and now has to destroy all 7 of the evil organization's bases. The controls work about how you'd expect in a shoot-'em-up. You can freely move around the screen, hit B to shoot. There is no auto-fire, so you'll have to mash B rapidly. Most enemies that you encounter will take 2 or more hits to destroy, and that's even if you're using a special weapon. The A button fires bombs, but you don't start out with any of those, and they're an exceptionally rare power-up. Theoretically, you could have a stock of 9 of them, and these carry over if you die, but realistically, you're going to use them. The bombs destroy all flying enemies and bullets on the screen, but they do not destroy any ground-based installations. And those ground-based installations are the actual threats that you'll be dealing with. Something else you'll notice once you start up is that you have a lot of lives. The game gives you 9 lives to start with. On top of that, you have a life bar. It has 3 sections, but when it reaches 0, you still don't get destroyed. You can still take 1 more hit then. So you can get shot 36 times. That makes the game sound pretty easy by shoot-'em-up standards. And that's not even accounting for the fact that extra lives become weirdly common later in the game. And yes, Big Challenge Dogfight Spirit is not a big challenge. Even the worst shoot-'em-up player will zip through stages the first time they play. However, to account for that, Jaleco ramps up the difficulty on the last couple stages to an absolutely absurd degree. In particular, those ground bases start firing a continuous stream of bullets that don't have enough gap for you to get through. They're often placed in situations where you can't shoot them, and even if you could, you have to shoot them quite a few times before they explode. The game goes from being so easy you could sleep through it, to suddenly being absurdly difficult, but still not challenging in any meaningful way. Just dumping this onto people isn't really much of a skill check. And the level design isn't much fun. Initially, you have wide open areas with nothing happening in them, and then on later stages you wind up dealing with terrain that blocks you in. Though the game is inconsistent about what will block your movement and shots and what won't. These skyscrapers will block you here, but later on you just fly over them. Every stage is broken up into 2 parts. The first half moves slowly, and you'll encounter a mix of ground targets and jets that swoop in after you. Eventually, you'll reach a base, and these are reminiscent of the bosses from compile shoot-'em-ups that you forget about because the later bosses are much cooler. However, there are no later cooler bosses in Big Challenge Dogfight Spirit. After you destroy the base, which is really just a collection of the same targets that you've been shooting the whole time, then you go into a high-speed mode. You no longer have to worry about colliding with terrain once this happens, but now you'll have enemies attacking from the front and behind. You'll fly along like this for a few minutes until the screen fades out. This high-speed mode is where a lot of power-ups get dropped. There are extra lives and things to repair your helicopter, but there's also a lot of special weapons that drop. On the first half of stages, these special weapons typically drop from trucks, though the trucks drive off the screen as soon as they appear, and they start at the edge of the screen, so sometimes they instantaneously drive off without you getting a chance to shoot them. There are 5 different special weapons. Good luck telling the icons apart. They shake in place slightly, and sometimes you can make them out against the background, but more likely than not you're just going to have to grab something and hope for the best. One of the weapon icons does return you to your default shot as well. There aren't multiple levels of power-ups for the weapons. Whatever you pick up is what you have. And most of the special weapon pickups are pretty bad. Things like the laser, or the one that shoots a bunch of shots straight ahead of you, or the front and rear shot, or the side shots. All of these attacks go slower, don't do additional damage compared to your regular shot, and dramatically slow down your rate of fire. So you're actually worse off with these. There is a spread shot that is just your regular shot going in 3 directions, and that's really the only weapon that's an improvement. Though there is one major flaw with your regular shot and that spread shot. On stages with blue backgrounds, your bullets are invisible. At least it's not the enemy bullets that are invisible. Big challenge, Dogfight Spirit does have one strange bit of legacy. A few years later, Jaleco would try another shooter with EDF. Yes, it's Earth Defense Force, but not that Earth Defense Force. And some of the music in EDF was taken from this game. Maybe they were really happy with the music and didn't want it to go overlooked. This is a game that doesn't seem to have a lot of fans in Japan, though I did find a couple of people who said that they liked it quite a bit. I, however, obviously did not. This is a game with mediocre level design, mediocre enemies, mediocre weapons. They tried to patch over some of the game by giving you a ton of lives and the ability to take a ton of hits, and the whole thing winds up just being an enormous mess. Maybe the ultimate statement on the game is that if you do run out of lives, before you start over, since there are no continues, you get to watch the last 2 letters in Game Over flicker away. Just one last sign of the quality that you'll find here.